What's up guys, Chad here with Tech in the Wild. Today we're going to walk through how to create a contour map in DJI Terra, including the DEM, DSM, and contour. I'm going to be shifting more of my focus into walkthroughs like this with the Matrice 4e, so stay tuned. And don't forget to drop your requests in the comments below. So without further ado, let's get into it. Today, we're up at our mountain property here in Colorado. We're building a steel structure to protect my dad's RV, with the possibility of turning it into a cabin later on. In my last video, I showed how to fly a job for the 3D mapping capability. If you haven't already, check out that video, because I'm going to skip some of the flight setups we've already covered. I've already set my flight area as shown, and the only major difference from my last video on this flight is the ortho GSD. I'm going to start around 1.5 centimeters because that gives me a good idea of the altitude the drone will be flying. For contour mapping, I like to keep it somewhere in the 1.5 to 2 centimeter GSD range. The lower the GSD, the more detail you capture, but the trade-off is longer flight times, more photos, and heavier processing. Since it was a 3-hour drive to get up here, I wanted to play it safe because I did not want to have to come back and redo it. I ended up raising the flight altitude to about 200 feet AGL, which pushed the GSD to around 1.66 centimeters, and that is still a very usable range for this kind of job. To be safe, I kept Smart Oblique on. Now, you don't need to do this just for contour mapping, but I decided I also wanted a 3D map for this project, so I enabled local mapping. Now, I understand I'm mixing 3D mapping with contour mapping, and that doesn't exactly help create clear directions for the purpose of this video. So take a screenshot of this image as a reference for your next contour mapping mission. We'll save the flight plan, click the play button on the top left. I'm going to lower my max altitude and raise the minimum return to home altitude since I'm next to the mountain, and we'll kick this job off. We had decent wind this day, so I'll admit right now that I rushed this job a little since we had a break in the weather and I didn't want to miss the window. But that definitely came back to bite me. Usually I would fly the drone to the highest point in the area first so I knew the safe altitude to use. But since I skipped that step, the job failed when it approached some trees that ended up being at my flight altitude. So I brought it back, and after reducing my area to a lower part of the mountain, I started the job again. This area and these settings took about 18 minutes to fly. The local mapping took almost 30 minutes to process. So again, if you don't need it and you're in a rush, that's one setting that you can skip. After we've copied our files from the drone to the computer, we'll open up DJI Terra. Choose Visible Light Project, then set the name for the project and choose a folder for the exports. I like to label my folders Import and Export so I know which is which. We'll click Select Folder and find the folder we copied our job into from the drone. You may notice on the bottom right of the map window it shows arbitrary or something similar. This is your CRS setting or Coordinate Reference System. Terra uses it to place your project correctly and generate outputs like your DEM and contour data. So, to make sure those generate correctly, let's click the pencil icon and update that. If it's set to arbitrary, your setting will look something like this. We'll select Known, then find the coordinate system that fits our location. If you don't know, I would just Google it or use ChatGPT to figure out which projected coordinate system to use based on your project location. Some will be in meters, others in feet, so be sure to choose the correct one for your preference. There are a ton of options in that dropdown, so it may take a little time to find the one you're looking for. The good thing is, once you've chosen it, you can see it will show up in your recent and recommended dropdowns. You can leave everything else at default, then click OK. For processing, or AT, we'll leave all of that at default. I'd like to do a 2D map, so I'm going to leave that on. I would recommend doing that so you have an ortho layer to compare against the contour maps. We'll leave all that at default as well, although you can lower the resolution if you're not too worried about it. Again, this part isn't needed, but I decided to add the 3D mapping since I may build a 3D model of our structure in the future. But I'll reduce the quality down to medium and choose the OBJ output instead of the PLY. Here's where the contour settings come in. We want to enable point cloud. I'll show this after we've run the job, and it'll be easier to see what it does. I'm going to change the quality to high so we get the most detail out of it. And this is especially important if you have a lot of objects on the surface like trees, plants, rocks, and things like that. We also want to turn ground point classification on. The ground type you choose will depend on your job. If the site is flat, go with flat ground. If it has rolling terrain, like my job, go with gentle slope. And if you have major elevation changes, go with steep slope. Again, mine's probably somewhere in between, so I use gentle slope. The next three settings are based on the slope profile you just picked, so you can fine-tune them if needed, but I think most people can leave them at the default values Terra gives you with that ground type choice. Next, we'll turn on DEM and leave that at default. And I'll talk more about DEM versus DSM after we run the job. Lastly, we'll turn on contour. For the interval, this is the elevation difference between each contour line. A lower number may look too busy, so if you guess wrong, just rerun that part later and adjust it to your liking. Since I'm using this to figure out grade change on our build site, I'm going to start with 2 meters. We can leave datum at 0 and elevation annotation radius at 15. Unless you have a specific survey requirement to fine-tune those, the defaults usually work just fine. And that's it. We're ready to run the job. The 2D mapping took about 20 minutes. You can see here that even though the 3D reconstruction is still processing, I can already look around my 2D map. The 3D reconstruction, which included the contour maps, took a little over 4 hours. I ran a new job for the contour jobs without the 2D and 3D mapping. It still took about 3 hours. I'm guessing they use similar resources, so it isn't much more to just do it all. And, like I mentioned before, you can rerun a section later to fine-tune the settings to your liking, and it'll go much faster. For me, all the contour jobs together ran in under a minute. Let's start with the 3D mesh, just so you can see how well it did, even though we didn't run a dedicated 3D flight path like I did in my last video. I'm not really interested in getting perfect 3D detail on every structure out here. What I care more about is the terrain, the elevation changes, and having that 3D model that I can potentially build onto later. Next, we have the Point Cloud RGB tab. This is that ground point classification I mentioned earlier. It looks like a bunch of clustered points that form a 3D terrain. It's kind of cool looking, almost like a movie effect or something. Next is the Class tab. In orange, you have the ground surface, and in white, the objects raised above the ground, like vegetation, my camper, the vehicles, and so on. This is also a really helpful way to understand the DEM versus DSM concept. The classified ground points are what Terra is using to build a terrain-focused ground model, which is what the DEM is based on. The non-ground or unclassified points help represent the surface objects sitting above that terrain, which helps illustrate the DSM idea since a DSM includes the top of trees, vehicles, roofs, or anything else visible on the surface. The last one is the elevation tab. Here you can see how the elevation changes with the colors. I expected to see an option for the contour lines here, but it appears this is about all you get. It still paints a nice picture, and you do have the elevation legend on the left to get an idea of what colors are what elevation, but unfortunately, it looks like the elevation is only available in meters. Even if you check the settings, those options are only for the measurements. DEM stands for Digital Elevation Model, which is basically the ground elevation. DSM stands for Digital Surface Model, which is the top surface elevation. One of the best ways to acquire this kind of data is with LiDAR. It's a common misconception that the Matrice 4E is LiDAR equipped, but it is not. The Matrice 4E uses visible light photogrammetry along with a laser rangefinder to build this data. While it's not the same thing as a true LiDAR setup, you can see here that it still gets the job done for a lot of projects. A good example would be something like a crop field, like corn, with heavy vegetation. If the M4E can't see through all that vegetation, it may start treating that surface as the elevation instead of the true ground underneath. A few settings we can play with here. First, the point cloud size. You can see as I raise this, the points start to look like larger cubes. Then, I can rotate to get a smooth camera view of the area, toggle my drone photo points so I can see where they were taken in my route, and then toggle my ground points on and off, or the non-ground points on and off as well. Next, we have the measurement tool. Use the line, area, or cube tools and right-click to finish the measurement. However, if you want to save this data for future use, go to the Applications menu and choose the Measurement and Annotation tool instead of the quick single measurement tools. The downside is, Terra is a little limited here, and it's not the most polished workflow. Also, you can only view one of these tools at a time, so you can't draw a line and also see an area at the same time. But you can rename them and at least get an idea of any measurements you're looking for. This was actually pretty easy once you get the hang of it. I'd say after about an hour of playing with it, you'll get used to it pretty fast. 4.5 hours is a pretty decent processing time for a job like this. I ended up running into some issues for my job, even with just the 2D and 3D rendering. It was shutting my computer off about 4 minutes into the processing. I highly doubt any of you will run into this specific issue, but I did want to point out the Device Performance tab down on the bottom left while the job's running. This will give you an idea if the CPU, GPU, or RAM are struggling to perform while the job is processing. My issue ended up being a bad power supply, but at least I was able to rule out those other components using that tool. And if needed, you can use other tools like the Intel Extreme Tuning utility to go more in depth and log what's happening if you're having issues or the computer shuts off. I hope this helped you either run a job by yourself or at least gave you an idea of what to expect if you want to try out contour mapping. Terra's pretty limited on what it can do with this, so join me in my next video where I'll jump into a free software called QGIS and we'll see what we can do at a beginner level to expand these capabilities a bit more. Thank you to everyone for the support of these videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. If you like this video, hit that like button and click subscribe. Click the bell icon so you can be notified every Sunday when we release new videos. And as always, thanks for watching.